Thank you for joining me on episode 7. Episodes, I think it's episodes. I may be wrong.
You're looking at me. You're looking at me.
I think
Possibly.
episode 7 of True Podcasts with me, Paul Candlin. Now, before we get into this is as part 2 of an exclusive we broke a couple of weeks ago, involving a guy called John Cheetham. Now, his story was one that can only be described as a Hollywood film, really. Not only did he survive the depths of depravity that humans can do to other humans, but he also has a story to tell, and we were the ones luckily enough and blessed enough to break John's story first time on a podcast. I think that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
But today we're also joined by Ray Coates, who he's a friend of John's, and we'll into the podcast we'll get to know how they become friends and how important friendship, true friendship, not stuff we see on Instagram or Facebook or social, true friendship can help one another. So let me introduce part 2 of John Cheetham and Ray Coates.
Lovely to see you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Great
Paul.
to be with you.
Now, you two have come from Blackpool, so
Yes.
you've come a long way to obviously join us today. So let me thank you, because when we had you on the first time, when I got home, a lot was going through my mind, and I just wanted to thank you both from travelling, and you still hadn't got home. Oh.
No.
And you were still...
You sounded so warm. You sounded so warm and comfortable.
Well, I had a lovely coffee, man, but I was under the impression you was home, and I wanted to say thank you both, especially...
We were still a couple of hours away, because we hit the roadworks in Wigan, and we were stuck in jams for an hour plus, weren't we?
Yeah. And do you know what's a wonderful thing? Is we got to the point of being delirious, which is wonderful. So me and John are so tired driving back, which is not a complaint. We were like a couple of boys, couple of young lads. We were just joking and laughing and wonderful.
Well, last week I did a podcast with Terry Bamber, and he gave us this centerpiece, beautiful, great
Amazing,
guy,
yeah.
very successful. But after that, I drove down from Birmingham, drove back to Birmingham, picked up a few things, and then went over to Norfolk.
Wow.
So I think it was about a 620 mile round journey.
Oh, my goodness me.
And by the time I got to Norfolk, I was pretty delusional myself. I think I was talking to my own reflection in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
But it was dangerous. The road wasn't there anymore. And luckily, I was only like 2 or 3 minutes from my destination. But
We were safe. We were safe, but silly.
I
We were
understand
safe,
fully.
but silly.
Yeah, but I felt so guilty.
It was worth a journey.
And I just thought, bless you. You know, you guys, not only have you faced adversity, but even still, you still fight the universe. So
That's why
we'll do it as a team.
That's why we don't let things worry us. So traffic jam, hey, we're stuck. If we're stuck for hours, what can we do? We're stuck.
to be fair, John,
Gotta
with what
laugh.
you faced and overcome, I think a traffic jam
Exactly.
is a walk in the park.
Yeah.
So, Ray, we didn't really talk much about your
I was
your
unusually
story.
quiet.
I wouldn't say quiet, but I think John had a lot to say.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
with
Definitely.
with everything that happened to him. But obviously, you've got I wouldn't say obviously, but you have got a story to tell,
Yep.
and it's equally as important as what John's was, because you've faced adversity but in a different way.
Yep.
I wouldn't say you were kidnapped and tortured the same way as John was, but you was definitely tortured in a sense, but in a different way.
I think in different ways everybody is, but sometimes when you're in the experience of life that you have, you don't see it in that way. It's only when you have conversations with people that then they start to realise what it is that they've experienced. So for me, the closing down of a voice, my voice, losing the ability to physically speak, spirit.
Just for the viewers at home, what was the reason?
Throat cancer, and there was emotion attached to that, psychology, spirituality. So the opportunity to communicate with others, and to this day, which is why I'm so glad to be creating with John. So glad to be with you. So grateful for the opportunity to share a message of every single person's voice matters, because it's the means and the apparatus we have to communicate more. And that's not just in a physical sense. So losing the ability to speak created the massive vacuum. But since then, I've had the joy of listening to others, communicating with others, and that's what that created. So whilst I wouldn't wish it upon anybody, silence for over a year and beyond, I now feel I'm moved. I'm not even driven. At times I become involved being here with you. It's a slightly surreal experience, because I'm thinking, how did that happen? How did I arrive here, and how did I meet John Cheetham, and how did we come together? And it's taught me the more of each other. When you open up and communicate, when you listen to people and you find out about them and their experience and help them to know their experience is amazing, incredible, and of great value to others. Unless people want to be quiet, which is fine. If they want to be heard, I feel I'm being moved by something that's beyond me to play a small part in creating that opportunity, which is why I admire what you do and what others do, because that's a platform. It's a platform.
It is, and we were just saying before we come live on air that what I really like is a tripod on the table, so we can just record even behind the scenes before the cameras get going, just so people know there's no hidden agendas. We are who we are. It is a true podcast with a true platform for people to come and speak as freely as they want, or as not as freely as they want. If they want to shout and swear and vent, then I'm there to listen. So basically, all I am, if I can sit here and host the best show I can, if I can ask the best questions I can, not only for myself but for the viewers at home, and to try and get you to open up to us in a more positive way, so we can get the message across to other people that can take something, if anything, away from these podcasts.
And that's it. We were saying before we came in about chronicling. So everybody's life is an opportunity for everybody else. So when you think of, I mean, John says, and I think, can't remember whether we discussed this last time, and he knows where it's going, is just John. It's the one time I disagree. Because I understand the reference, but I think as human beings, we are here to offer things to each other in the experience that we have and learn. When you listen to somebody and they're sharing something, you think, wow, do you know what? That's interesting. I've not really looked at life like that. So I think this communication, we're actually, if you dumb it down to it, we're the same beings, we're the same species. Yet there seems to be this disconnect of communication or inappropriate communication. So I think to share, and that's what myself and John have. So about a year now.
Yeah.
We've known each other.
It's good to get different perspectives of
Absolutely.
life, and that's what this podcast is, or this platform, a true podcast. It's to not only get the truth across, but to show there's no hidden agendas.
Yeah.
And if we can, I'm a big fan of Tucker Carlson, and he has an iPhone running as everything's been set up. And they're talking just like we are now. But it just goes to show for the viewers that we're not scripted.
Yeah.
There's no script. There is a general structure to what we do, but it's more let the flow take us to where it needs to take us.
Absolutely.
And in between, if I ask the right questions at the right time, then there's no reason for the viewers or myself not to take anything away from the podcast itself.
Yeah.
And from what we listened to John on part 1, with the adversity that you faced and survived, and still come away smiling.
Always.
But not only that, to be inspired to write your book, you're doing a few Q&A sessions. I think the first one's on Thursday. Up in Blackpool. So what?
I remembered. Yeah.
Yeah. So what? If you would like to tell the viewers what that's all about.
I think because John is so generous. I definitely know I mentioned that last time, and I think just the way he shares his life, and understandable would be to kind of another way of responding to it would be to compact it down to bury it, but John's chosen to share it. And then I thought, which has grown, it wasn't an initial idea. I do a very, very small scale, relatively speaking, low-key podcast because I'm interested in talking with other people and hearing what they've got to say and learning from them. And in real time, wow, that's interesting, that's fascinating as they're sharing. We did a few podcasts, myself and John, and obviously with the writing of songs, with the reading of Fall Guy, with things that have happened, this has grown. This wasn't like a plan. You know, we'll get to this point where book to film projects, songs, boom, boom, boom. We're now going to do evenings with. I just thought, what can we do that shares John's experience because he wants to, that creates that.
Well, I think it deserves it as well. To be honest. Yeah,
oh, totally. And that I'm moved by that because you understand a little more, and the audience will understand a little bit more. I had that experience of having no voice in 2008. So I can communicate, I can talk, I will talk, but I'm also fascinated by creating an opportunity.
But this is what links the both of you together.
Yes,
is that you've both faced adversity in life. You through what you went through over in Bulgaria, but you with what you went through with cancer. But together.
Cypher Films is an independent production company based in Enfield, London, UK. We produce documentaries, short feature films, social media videos, and provide photography studio space for weddings, christenings, and corporate videos.
You've both faced adversity and both come away smiling.
Yeah.
So to have you both on the podcast at the same time was twice. It's not only a blessing, but it's a chance for me to ask the real questions now, the questions that actually mean that people can actually relate to. You know, so the questions I want to ask today is basically what keeps you two connected. Obviously, you've been friends for a year.
Yeah.
What was the initial meeting between the both of you?
I was doing a small amount of work for a small radio station in Blackpool.
Is that where we met?
Yeah, where we met.
Okay.
Not doing work really. They were just kind of
Picking
my brains and that kind of thing. However, when I brought my book out, they were the first to advertise it for me. So they took a few pictures, bobbed it on the website, interviewed me a time or two, and I did get some sales from that. However, when I brought my book out, I was paranoid, seriously paranoid for about a month.
In what aspects?
Everybody was following me. I thought I was going to get shot again. The world was coming down at me with AKs. I thought they were literally going to smash down my door at home and break in and just finish me off for good.
Just for the viewers that haven't watched your, just quickly, briefly explain how you left the country that you was stuck in.
So I worked for an estate agent close to Blackpool. I was asked to assist an American client buy an old abandoned racetrack in Bulgaria. He sold racehorses in America, so it kind of made sense. He said he was going to put a breeding operation there. I agreed to fly out to Bulgaria with him, have a look at the land for him, give him my opinion of what it was worth. But while we were there, we were able to meet the people that were selling the land. So we agreed a price under the understanding that the American, was able to prove he'd got the money to buy it, which in that kind of circumstance is quite normal.
Right.
So we flew back to England. I got the paperwork from America to prove he had the funds to buy it. I flew back to Bulgaria and got shot. Shot by the Mafia, operated on in Varna Hospital, Bulgaria. They made a mess of my operation, no painkillers, rusty 2 different metals in my leg. They left the bullet in there or fragments of the bullet.
Catalogue of
and then
absolute
they kidnapped me. So from the kidnapping, I got smuggled out of the country. I don't know who. I've got my own ideas who and my own ideas why. But I was flown back to a airfield in England. I don't know where. We were only able to fly at 5,000 feet on the plane because it was an old 1950s, 60s twin prop. I was loaded onto that plane through the cockpit. Wow. So again, I didn't ask any questions. I was escaping Bulgaria. When I got home, I was 4.5 years on crutches. I was years with my voice being absolutely terrible, like a baby talking. Took me a long, long time to learn to talk. I had to have books that a 3-4-year-old would read, and I had to keep going over the words time and time again.
Doesn't that show like the strength of and the resolve that a human can overcome?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you just believe in yourself that you can do it. Yeah. And he didn't give up. He just kept going and going.
Over time. So I think when you're in that, I can't talk for John's experience, but I can hear John's experience and understand that from my experience.
And which is what connects the both
totally,
of you.
Yeah. Totally. And that did, for me, the process. So over time, this is over a long time for me, and over time of spending with John, the pain becomes the fuel. And I want to just share this because it is relevant. Gareth Southgate.
Oh, here we go.
I'm sorry. You didn't think it was going to go there, did you?
Honestly.
But
this would be interesting.
He talked about, because recording, we're right in the midst of the Euros.
Yep.
He talked about his experiences that he's had. And, of course, then the media on him for the England manager job as fuel. Now, what I'm sharing is that's a relative experience in comparison to John's life, in comparison to mine. And I'm sure, given that opportunity, he would possibly consider it that way. And the experience of others who are listening, watching. Yeah. But that is the fuel. So that takes time. That takes time to realise that, because when you're going through it, in the eye of it, you're not thinking, this is fuel for my future. You're just dealing with and managing with the depth of what it is you're experiencing. But when I met John, it's like, wow, well, here is another fuel source. Here is a cell of energy. And wow, now we're together creatively. Wow, that's immense. Now we've got, double the power. And I think that's, for me, become more of a realisation in everything I do. So sonically, songwriting with John. I'm a lyricist primarily. I've written words all my life. Yeah? Rather than thinking, excuse me, hold on a minute, you think you're going to write lyrics in the songs that I'm going to do? That would be a competitive way of thinking. I now look at John's experience, think, yeah, go on then, write some lyrics. Yeah. I'll write some music, we'll get some songs going.
Yeah.
It's just...
But I think with your adversity, which we'll get to shortly, you both technically shouldn't have survived what you faced. But you both come through it, not only with smiles, but you've come through with credit, self-credit, self-certification that, okay, life, we can face anything. This is like just individually, but it's together. Technically, it should be formidable. And with people that are struggling at home at the moment, if we can just get one message across to them, saying even individual, you're as strong as what you allow yourself to be.
So what I always say to people is, learn every day as though it's your first day, and live every day as though it's your last day.
Amen. What was you going to say?
Self-certification.
Definitely.
When you said that.
Well,
Because we live in a prescribed-based world, so everything is about, I am the expert because a piece of paper tells me.
Exactly. What was good, yeah.
The great thing is we've got the power of experiences, and people to listen. I listen. I went through the trauma and the ordeal that I went through, and there's a lot attached around that, a family breakdown, many other elements to it. But then I can meet John, I can meet yourself, I can meet MK, I can meet Benny, I can meet others. And then you start finding out about the lives of other people and you think, wow, I've got this reservoir of energy to draw upon. So rather than us all being independent, self-operating cells, we have got that self-certification, but we can actually bring those qualifications together. Bring those self-qualifications together, and then experience gets multiplied.
But it's all about experience. You need to have good and bad experiences in life to be able to learn. Because if everything's good, you will never find the true value of when things are good, only when things go bad. And I've had to find that in my hard way. But on the flip side of it, when you come through adversity, much like the both of you, the only way is up. And on the way up, you meet new friends.
Yeah.
You meet idiots along the way that try and waste your time, but you meet them true, genuine people along the way. And that's who you make friends with, who have connections, like the both of you. And that's why I wanted to get not only John on with, obviously, his story, but with yours as well, because yours is equally as devastating in life as what John's was. So yours was throat cancer.
Yeah.
And you lost your voice for a whole year.
Yeah. And I would say emotionally, spiritually, for some considerable time after that, because around the time of throat cancer, there was marriage breakdown. Married at the time, 5 children.
Well, I was just going to say, what age did this suddenly happen to you?
That would have been, let me get this right, I would have been 43 at the time.
My age?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Now I'm just going to take myself out of my realm and put myself into that. How? And it's not something I can say that I would act in a certain way because my head can't even comprehend. Whereas yours must have been at that particular time.
Well, it's very, very difficult when you're in an experience that's brutal physically. So radiation for 6 weeks, so every day. 30 treatments in total after surgery. Treatments, called treatments, but that's not how it felt. Bolted to a bed with a mask that was shrunk to match the face, and the contours and where the radiation needed to target. I'm going to say it how it is. Burnt to absolute fucking buggery. Burnt within, an inch of my life. Still now, dryness of mouth, saliva glands shot to pieces. And again, I am going to say it because it's the first thought that came to me when I met John, 4.5 years not communicating. So again, that's the fuel of somebody else has made me think, yeah, okay, that's reality. I've got those experiences. I don't have what I had previous to it, but the energy that's fueling from inside me, the desire to share the value of life.
Succeed.
The value of life and the value of your voice. We all say it at times. I have heard myself in an interview, or I've heard myself, when I listen to my singing voice. Yeah, I genuinely don't listen to it and think, wow, that's fucking good. Yeah, that's good. And I like it and I enjoy it. But I think when people say, I don't like my voice, the amazing thing about that is you're hearing yourself outside of your head. So when we hear ourselves, that's not what we sound like when we're talking.
Well, just before we went live, I was watching episode 1 on the TV. Yeah. The day I can watch myself without cringing.
Yeah.
It's a day that I can say, okay,
yeah.
I can now, I'm now comfortable with my tone. But even still,
it's value in the voice. It's value
I can
in
watch
the voice.
certain things when it comes to myself, I'm my own biggest critic. You know, I don't need enemies.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly capable of being my own worst critic. I really am. But when I meet guys like you, the stuff I criticise myself is,
and that's what it does for me. That's what it does for me. What you've just said, you know, gives me a new sense about totally a different perspective and
it's all about
a
perspectives.
reevaluation of what I've got and being grateful for that. And knowing John for a year, it has become a friendship.
Yeah.
How's that working for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we met through the radio station, and I gave Ray a copy of my book. And strangely for me, Ray took a long time to read my book, which is, a lot of people have said, I read it in a day, I couldn't put it down, it was amazing. I was in tears, I was in bits, you've done so well. But Ray kept the book for months and didn't do anything with it, which I found a little bit odd, but he was kind of getting to know what other things I could do, and we connected through music. During lockdown, I started to write. Never done it before in my life.
brilliant.
Other than when I was young. But lockdown, one day I woke up, I wrote something, I put on Facebook, and a recording studio rang me and said, "This is amazing, can we have some more?" And I wrote a lot of songs and poems, and they recorded an album in America. And then shortly after that, a local celebrity who was, I guess, English famous, not really worldwide famous. It was part of the duo of Cannon and Ball. So Cannon and Ball, Bobby Ball.
They did that in Blackpool.
He lived in St Anne's near Blackpool. He died of COVID. So I picked up on the story that Bobby was dead. I didn't know of him because of my work through a estate agency. I wrote a poem as a tribute to Bobby. Within 5 minutes of me putting that on Facebook, his wife rang me and said, "Would you mind if we use that poem at his funeral?"
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Then the Nolans rang me. So anyone remembers the Nolan sisters, "I'm in the Mood for Dancing," their famous song, which Japan still buy.
Really?
They're big in Japan. They're huge in Japan. Even now. I went to Japan 5 years ago. Nolan albums everywhere.
What's it like in Japan?
Well, they've done well.
So I can imagine it being like really futuristic.
Yeah, in certain places it is, but yeah. They're 1970s vinyl albums of the Nolan sisters. And most of the Nolans live in Blackpool. So what Yvonne Ball did, Bobby's wife, she had the Nolan sisters giving my poem out all the way to Bobby's funeral. And they gave 3,000 copies of my poem out that day. So I started following the news and writing about different things and different places I'd been. And I started getting really good feedback. I did one for the RSPB about the birds in London parks. I did one about mental health. And I started getting all this response saying, "These are amazing." And I don't know where I'd got that from, the ability to write like that. So, of course, when I met Ray, I said, "Well, I actually write a few songs. I always say I'm just John, I'm not great, but here's what I've written." And Ray's recorded some of them songs, And they're absolutely amazing.
It's keeping me busy, Paul.
I mean,
We're keeping busy together.
Cypher Films is an independent production company based in Enfield, London, UK. We produce documentaries, short feature films, social media videos, and provide photography studio space for weddings, christenings, and corporate videos.
just the statement you made there, just John.
Yeah.
It's pretty understated, to be honest. If I'm honest,
Yeah.
you're not just John. You know, you're John, the person who survived, the unsurvivable,
Yeah.
the unthinkable, should I say?
Yeah.
You're John, the person that's overcome adversity. You're John, the person that cracked mental health.
Yeah.
You're John, the person that learned to talk again. And you're John, the person that's carried on and made a success of the card that you was dealt with in life.
Yeah.
You haven't become a victim.
No.
You haven't played the victim.
No.
You haven't played the victim card.
No.
But what you have done is you've given viewers at home, especially me personally, a completely different outlook on life. Not only on how savage and horrible humans could be to other humans and carry on living their own life, but in that way that the person that was the victim of that savage torture was able to turn it into a positive. You wrote a book. You're doing part 2 of our podcast, which is huge
amazing.
honour to have this.
Huge. Yeah.
But you also have met Sean Coronin
Yeah.
just before he left. And I hope that that meeting, which I wanted to take place, I'm glad it did, will help get your book made into a film.
Right.
Because not only not the poems, but the story itself inspires people.
Yeah.
You as a person, being as humble as you was, what you are, and the way you come across to people is inspiring.
Yeah.
But it's not only inspiring, but it's like what gelled you two together. Now, you're both humble guys.
I would never be a victim. I say a line in one of my songs: if a bullet is the best you can do, then I must feel sorry for you.
Okay.
So the Bulgarians are the victims, not me.
Bless you.
They tried the best, but I'm here. So you can't be that good.
I'm saying this. Obviously, John's not saying this, and I'm not saying this on behalf of John. But the way I feel towards John's victory, success, is V for victory to you.
Amen.
You know, and the power of that, the power of
Being able to do that, but there
if
as
a
well.
bullet is the best you can do. John is the human being who was shot. He was the one who took the bullet. So when I'm singing in Run for the Roses is the name of the song. It's John's victory song. It's John's victory song. And he's written his own victory song.
Amen.
I mean, that's wow. You know, from that experience, and now what he's saying to those people who is that it? Is that what you got? Is that what you got? You know, I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you. It's absolutely amazing. Now, I could have written messages similar to that, but I definitely couldn't have written that message. So if you now fuse that together, and vocally for me, it's not a massively challenging song, but I dug into my boots because I thought I'm going to sing that for the credit that deserves. And that's how I see John. That's how I see what he's sharing, which is I can't do, for example, book to film. That's not what I've got. I haven't got that thing. So there's no point in me trying to pretend I've got that thing. Yeah? But I can write songs. I can write really, really hooky melodies. I can write a song that's powerful. I can use this recording
But that's
studio.
skillful as what?
Oh yeah.
It's film.
Oh yeah. But the point is it's me
powerful.
it's me using that to amplify the message that John wants to share, and or other people that I'm working with, and or my own thoughts,
just gonna
feelings
say,
and
yeah.
experiences. So we then therefore we project more. And John hit it on the head a moment ago, because he said I wasn't really thinking about what he couldn't do. I was thinking about what he could do. So I didn't read the book for a while because we'd started to write.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm going to find out, because there's enough in the lyrics for the songs we've written. There's some powerful, powerful messages there. But if I read the book, I'm going to be influenced by deeper than the words that John has written, the lyrics he's written. So I want to wait for that until I've completed. So that's kind of how it happened with me with the book. My partner, Michelle, read the book and kept saying to me repeatedly, you need to read this. Ray, you need to read this. This is...
Is that your current... Is that your partner?
Yeah. It's absolutely astonishing. But I just feel like I want to create the songs, the music from the lyrics that John's sharing. Cry. It's absolutely
What I did on the first
exceptional.
Part one.
It's absolutely exceptional, the song.
I don't think...
John's journey back to the UK, amazing.
With that story, if you don't cry, then there's seriously something wrong.
When you listen...
I did try and hold... I did try and hold back
amazing.
and try and keep it together. But there's just a point where I think just shedding a tear says everything. You don't need to shed a word. You need to say a word, Just shedding that tear says everything. But the fact that he's here and he's making a success now is what puts a smile on my face. The fact, and if I can be a small catalyst in that happening, then True Podcast in a platform has done its job.
And genuinely, that's how I feel within the medium I use, which is an incredible opportunity, gift. I've said of songs we've written, Cry in particular, if this no longer functioned, this now stops like it did. I now can't sing again. I'm happy.
So let's go.
I'm happy because I sang that song, and that song represented John's return to the UK and losing his home, and it's all attached to that. I thought I heard the buildings cry. That's John's opening lyric. I thought I heard the buildings cry. How many songs? And it's not because it's me. It's not because I'm attached with it. I've said to John, it's one of the best opening lyrics of a song I've ever heard. I thought I heard the buildings cry as I casually walked on by. And this street, the cover artwork is a picture of John outside Winkley Square, the flat.
Who sung that song, Walk On By? Was it John Warwick?
Yeah.
As soon as you said that,
Bacharach.
I could hear them lyrics in that song.
Dionne Warwick, I think it was Whitney Houston's auntie.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dionne Warwick.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what got Whitney the start. Was Dionne and Thelma Houston, Whitney's mum. They were singers way before Whitney. But it was Dionne Warwick who gave Whitney the start.
So I was watching I'm just going off topic. I was watching a documentary with Motown and how it started, and just one guy in a house in Detroit and made a record label that still today holds a gold standard. Motown. You know, so it just goes to show no matter what adversity is thrown at you, or where you come from. It's all about how you believe in yourself. And I think, going back to your story, Ray, where you faced adversity with throat cancer, you had marriage breakups, so was it divorce?
Ultimately, yeah. Separation for a while. Also at the same time, sorry to add to the list that you're giving there, my dad died. I found out. I didn't see him from when I was 5 years old. So I had a hand-delivered letter come through the door at the same time. As throat cancer, marriage breakup, and I'd chosen for a variety of different reasons. So all of that happened at the same time. So it was really like a complete, and that's a very, very shorthand way of sharing it, a complete shutdown, lockdown of everything. And I now look back at that time and think, how on earth did I get through that? And to be fair, I want to share this and say this, how did the people around me get through it? And obviously their perspective was different, but I couldn't see that. I couldn't see it at the time because I was
often forgotten.
Yeah, I was going through what I was going through. And then the residual effects of that, marriage breakdown, of course, estrangement for children for a period of time.
And how did that affect your mental health?
I suppose in some ways the direct answer to that, which is the first thing that came to me, is I've got no clue because I was so lost. But then as I regained energy, because I felt like I couldn't literally speak. As things came back to me, I then have started over the last few years to find out what it is who I am in some ways, because I lost myself within that experience completely. Not only did I lose the people around me at that time, I lost me, and then I've discovered. And that's where I think when I think of others, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything against their will. I have a very, very strong driving force that makes me feel I want people to realise the miracle they are.
Amen.
The miracle they are. Because every single person in society, and if we want better communities, better societies, if people really, really fully realise what it is they've got and the incredible spirit to overcome what you think, well, wow, you know, that's I couldn't possibly imagine that.
Well,
That's actually in everybody,
I
but
think
just not
COVID
necessarily fully exercised.
woke a lot of people up. It's enough to say the whole world was shut down.
Yeah,
Couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Couldn't travel anywhere. And I think it brought a lot of things to light about each other
Yeah.
and individuals but it also made people see this bad side of life where, do I dare say, the mainstream media showed its true colours with lies, propaganda, fear
Yeah.
that drove people to argue, relationship breakups, abuse at home went through the roof. And that's all because of the fear that was driven into people, the way they were locked up. And I often reverse it as being at a zoo. Can you imagine how them animals must feel?
Oh, yeah.
Being in that cages, being locked up and being peered in by us.
We're just the same in
It was
situation.
as though that we were placed in this big zoo,
Yeah.
and we were being poked at and prodded and jabbed with
We
certain
were
things
though, weren't
and
we?
fed certain things.
We were.
Yeah. And it just took me to that point where people's voices were taken, yours taken away, literally. But it also made people see how strong they actually can be. I'm not putting up with this. I can beat this. And when they come through, just like you have and John has, and then you find true friendships,
Yeah.
and you can look back on the adversity and think, if I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't have met a lifelong friend. If I hadn't have done this, or if that hadn't happened that particular time, I wouldn't be where I am today. So you end up thanking God or the universe or whatever it is that you believe in. Thank you for that bad time. Thank you for that testing time, because I wouldn't prove to me, not to anyone else, but to yourself, how strong you really are when shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
That's the value. So me rediscovering me to some degree, a newer, fuller, broader experience of me through what I experienced, that was fine over time. That became what it is, what it now is. Yeah. Then, of course, that opens up the doorway. So that's where if we open up to the vulnerability and the weaknesses, and I've become more honest in quite a painful way at times than I've ever been in my entire life, because I know part of the reason of the shutdown was because I was trying to keep quiet about certain things and what I felt and what I thought. It hasn't now transpired into everything. Just need to get everything out. It's now become that I can include myself in the company of others, and then we can share this experience together. I can gain value from then. I learn. When John said that quote, which for me has become a mantra, learn every day as if it's your first. Live every day like it's your last. I think, wow, I could use a lot of words to say that.
My dad said the same
brilliant.
thing.
That's brilliant.
And people often ask me, how's your dad doing? He's having good or bad days? To me, every day is a good day.
Yeah.
To me, every day is a good day that he's still there.
That's right.
And to my dad, for him to be able to not work and still enjoy life, every day is a good day. All right, maybe uncomfortable, but he's still here.
Yeah.
He's still able to be my dad.
Yeah.
And you're still here. You're still able to be John, a better version, stronger version.
Yeah.
You're still here, able to be Ray,
Yeah.
but in a more vocal, powerful version. So together, you're technically and in reality unstoppable.
Yeah,
you both complement each other in a way.
An army of force, aren't we? We are an army, a force.
But how many people get to not only find true friendship, but find the true value of what true friendship brings to not only to each other's lives, but what you can make happen for each other together. Do you know what I mean?
I think when you transact in energy communication, and obviously it's part of the journey of life. As you experience things, you have the opportunity to take that experience, learn from it or not.
You got to learn,
and you got to ideally. But then if you don't, as I've done, and I'm sure we all do in different ways at different stages in life, repeat
till you get it right.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the famous word? If you don't succeed, try and try again. Keep trying until something that you plan, or something that you plan together works.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be, and I'm still learning how to be the best host I can.
Yeah.
I'm still finding my way in the podcast world.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get it right every time. And if I don't get it right every time, I'm sorry. I'm still learning. And if you've got any feedback to give me, if you want to be, Paul, you're a shit host, you've got to be doing it this way, or you've got to be saying this, or you've got to tell me. Leave a comment in the comment box. I'm sure you will. And help me along my journey. Help me along the way. Help me to make this platform a success. And in doing so, we can, together as with guests as well,
but we transact what I was sharing about John.
make a success.
Yeah, we transact on the level where we are now. So meeting somebody like John, for me, was part of me not feeling that I want to restrict anybody.
Amen.
Not that I ever did.
I couldn't
not that I ever
imagine you
did.
doing that.
But becoming more aware of that's me. That's me. I have this thing about me that feels like I want people to exceed incredibly well. I want them to be heard. I want them to be seen. Whatever they want to do, as long as it's a good, wholesome thing, great. You know, I will give as much support to that as I possibly can. And I think that's the bit that adds value to my life. So I've shared for quite a few years now. Yes, I'm definitely going to share my voice, of course. I've only got the one. I haven't got another one.
For that voice to get it back.
I haven't got yours. I've only got mine. So, but therefore, the addition to me, the value, the extra value to life is other voices, whether that be lyrically, whether that be vocally, other singers. There is no competition. That's the illusion. So open up to the value of a fuller experience by opening up to others. And the quicker transaction now is, I realise, you realise, John realises, MK realises, people listening realise, you find a quick way of knowing that's just continually not working with that person. That's not working for me, that's not working for them. Find the people that amplify you and you can amplify them. You can do that together. And our planet Earth is inhabited by a ridiculous amount of people. That you're going to find people throughout that journey. You might not think.
But don't you think
moment.
that world's become smaller with technology? The way the way technology is booming at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm glad I grew up when I did, and had the childhood that I did when I had it. But I'm also excited about where we're living at the moment and the way technology is happening. The way it's just an interesting time, in human history to live at this precise moment, because there's so much going on and we're at the forefront of everything. We're at the forefront of history, technology, you name it, we're there.
Yeah.
Where we're going to go with that direction,
as long as it's used positively, let's hope so. But as long as it's not held against us, long as we don't use it for the bad of others, long as it's used for the good of others, then I think it's great. But there's a few individuals in the world, which we all know the names, that probably use it against us. And they're the people that we could do without, really. Let's have the positive. Let's have it so everything's good. Why should we keep having wars? Why should people be starving? Why should people be homeless when there's few individuals out there that have got the money to cure all these problems? So let's get some of their money and let's cure some of these problems. You know, we can do it.
Amen.
Yeah, it's,
If only if it was that, yeah. If only everyone thought that way.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, we don't live in that world. And the world that we do live in, is we have to make the best change that we possibly can.
yeah.
Now, I've rescued a few dogs from Romania and give them a new life.
Okay, yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, it's like a piss in the ocean. But to them, I've changed their whole world.
Yeah.
Changed the whole world.
Yeah.
And their perspective on life, and their perspective on humans, and their perspective on love, and how it feels to be loved. Now, if I can bring that to a dog that lasts 12 years, 14 maybe if you're lucky, I've done my job. That's what I intended to do,
Yeah.
and I gave them the best life possible. For me now, it's being able to give back what I've been given. You know, I was never dealt a bad card in life. I had a good childhood. I've had supporting families, the love of a family,
Yeah.
and now it's my chance to give back. And if I can provide a platform that can do that for people
Yeah.
that have faced adversity, much like the both of you.
Yeah.
Cypher Films is an independent production company based in Enfield, London, UK. We produce documentaries, short feature films, social media videos, and provide photography studio space for weddings, christenings, and corporate videos.
And make a success, then all I am is a link, a glorified host, a trainee one at that. And that's my job done. That's really, if the grand scheme of things happen, then, and I'll make that happen for you guys, meeting Sean, and it happens that way, then so be it, you know.
Right. It's,
I genuinely know that's why I'm here. That's why John's here. That's why those that are listening and watching are here. Because there's a connection in the value of what you've said, of the currency of what you've said. So if I represent me, because I've just heard what you've just said, that for me, people use the term that aligns with me, and I get that. I'm not criticising that phrase, but that echoes with me deeply. I think of the phrase, remember. These are members. We have something in us as a human being that things hit and strike us at the core of us, the essence of us. So when you just said what you just said, yeah. So we can do that. We can do that in the transaction of communication with each other.
Like a song or a smell or a scent
Yeah.
or a word or a particular place.
Yeah.
And it'll bring back a load of emotion,
Totally.
loads of memories.
And we can share it.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's being able to share it in the right way.
Yeah.
You know, able to not only inspire people, it's not the right, but never letting people give up. Because if you give up, you're last line in defence.
Yeah,
So if you
I
give up-
never did give up. So doctors were saying to me, we were going to amputate your leg. And I said to them, hey, are you sure you're a doctor? And I looked them in the eye and said, are you sure you're a doctor? When did you qualify? You qualified in England, I hope, so you know what you're doing, do you?
Self-certificating.
Yeah.
I did
right off the tip of my
not
tongue.
believe a word they said. And I had 4 hospitals doing the same thing, and I kept fighting against them wanting to amputate my leg. And the only way I could fight, because I was physically unable to walk, so I couldn't give them a clock round the ear hole, which they deserved, was by talking back to them, saying, you can't be a doctor, you don't know what you're talking about. I will walk again. Well, we don't think you can, so we think the best thing is to amputate. You're not amputating me, mate. You're going to amputate someone else. And that, strangely, gave me the time to meet a surgeon who was on my side. Wow. And I didn't meet the surgeon. I met his old school teacher from his days in school. Now, this surgeon was like 40. So his school teacher was 70. And the school teacher still believed in that pupil out of everyone he taught over 30 years. And that school teacher said to me, I'll get my friend on the phone, he'll take care of it. And that's what happened. And now that surgeon is the chief surgeon for the British Army, the Royal Navy.
Well, it just shows that you found the right person
Yes.
at the right time.
Yeah. But I found it because I didn't believe anyone else.
Refused.
I refused to believe what these doctors were saying to me, and I was right.
Only you know you.
Yeah.
Only you know you.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I can relate to John because when I broke my neck and my back, I was told I'd never weightlift or play football
Yeah.
and martial arts or any of it. And I believe them. So for 13, 14, 15, 16, 5 years, 18 really, 5.5 years, I didn't do any bag work. I didn't lift any weights. I didn't play any football. I had kebabs like that was going out of fashion. I had takeaways. I really let myself go. I gained weight. And all because I believe these so-called experts that thought they knew best for me, and they didn't.
No.
Only you know you.
Yeah.
And there's still certain things I can't do in the gym. Still certain things I can't do, like squats or deadlifts. So I won't do them.
Yeah.
But I'll do an exercise that will counteract that I can do.
Yeah.
And it'll still give me the same, if not better results.
Yeah.
So again, it's not admitting defeat. It's facing that adversity and saying, you know what, fuck you. I'll find a different way of doing it and doing it.
Totally. It's facing what you can do.
The easiest thing
It's
to do is
facing
to
what
give
you
up.
can do. Totally.
No matter what you do,
Yeah.
whether it's
Yeah, yeah.
acting, whether it's work or running your own business or just finding an excuse to get out of bed of a morning. If you give up,
Yeah.
that's it. Finished.
Yeah.
It's game over.
Yeah.
As soon as you don't and you carry on, that's when results start happening. You find different people. And that's when you can look back and think, wow, if I'd have given up there, then this wouldn't have happened. That wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have met John and
Yeah.
wouldn't be where I am today.
The power you have is the experiences you've been through. John wrote lyrics to a song, The Ropes of Life. We went to an event with Joe Calzaghe, the boxer, ex-boxer.
Yeah.
And he wrote, I saw a post recently, it's been around for years, a fight with Chris Eubank. And Chris Eubank said to him before the fight, apparently, I'm going to take you to the trenches. I'm going to take you to the trenches. Joe Calzaghe, what are the trenches? I don't know what the trenches are. He found out in that fight and shares, I now know what the trenches are, because Chris Eubank took me to the trenches. John writes lyrics, The Ropes of Life. I create music for The Ropes of Life, but the message within that is that we have all, yes, John definitely, yes, me, yes, you, yes, everybody, realise the power inside is the experiences you've been through. That's the ropes of life. It's the things that we don't want. Don't want to be flawed, don't want to be on the canvas, don't want to be up against the ropes, don't want to be knocked out at times. But we get back up. And when we get back up, that's where the strength is. Tyson Fury to the count of 9.
Yeah. Remember
to
that?
the count of 9.
Do you remember the old WWF where you had the Undertaker and he
Yeah.
just all molest count through,
Yeah.
and then he just sit up. Yeah, it took me to back to the Undertaker, and you know he just used to sit up, and Tyson Fury just sat up, and I was like,
Yeah.
how?
Yeah, it's a different strength in it
Yeah.
within you that you've got. That okay, yeah, we know our own strengths. Your muscle in your body has memory. So
Yeah, I know that.
yeah, exactly. So, and if you start using that memory, you come back stronger than you
I
were.
was just going to say, John, now I'm in the gym, I'm stronger than I've ever been. I'm a lot more confident than I've ever been.
Yeah.
Don't look the best, but I'm doing it all naturally this time.
Yes.
There's no performance enhancements, there's no steroids, there's no
No.
testosterone added. It's just me, a set of weights,
Yeah.
a gym, and a will to succeed.
Yeah.
And that's the way I train.
I went to the gym on my crutches for 4.5 years, through the rain, the snow, the ice. I fell down 100 times. I went up on escalators and couldn't get off. So an escalator going up, I couldn't get off it. They had to press the emergency button.
Population. The more
But it's not that; it's breaking the family unit.
yeah.
That's the only reason you can think of.
Look
why
at the
they're doing
common thread through the majority of things. So COVID, trans.
I mean, look at
whatever
the
it
history.
is.
Like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It was a man that was a breadwinner.
Yeah.
Woman stayed home,
Yes.
looked after the family.
Yeah.
And now you're both working, and you're still not earning enough to make
No.
ends meet.
No.
And the mainstream media is bringing up your kids.
Yeah.
The education system that was brought into the 1920s, the mainstream education system isn't fit for purpose. It wasn't fit for purpose when it was brought out, and it isn't now. The Rothschilds made the education system so really you can have glorified slaves. Really,
Yeah.
that's all we are.
Yeah.
It's slaves paying taxes
Yeah.
to fund wars that we don't really give a fuck about, and it's ultimate control. Take away the money, take away this, take away that. Before you know it, you have nothing and still be happy. Go fuck yourself.
Remote control.
No.
Yeah.
Controlled.
I've heard the latest
Controlled
one. The
remotely.
latest one that we're apparently going to be on 2030. We're going to be invaded by fucking aliens.
Oh.
Yeah. Figure that one out.
They're
Something new to be scared
Yeah,
about.
they're
There's a new thing to be
probably
scared
making him now, aren't they? We're talking about my book now becoming possibly going to film, and the songs that myself and Ray have written with that film in mind. So over to you, Ray.
Yeah. Thank you, John. It's when I met John, found out about his lyrical ability. So I was focusing on what he can do, and I saw an incredibly creative soul.
And we were just saying before the podcast started some of the words that he writes.
Yeah.
You necessarily wouldn't think of, but when you're both on the same level, but coming from different perspectives, and you're both writing, and he comes up with a lyric, and you think, ooh.
A phrase I often use, and I apply this to me in a different way, is life lived lyrics. Because what people tend to do, not everybody, is dumb it down to say, oh, they're songs. For me, they're not songs. They're not songs. They're messages. They're sonic representations of the human spirit and the commonality. So John, from his experience, share these powerful capsules. Again, another phrase people often use is, he's good with words. It's a real backhanded compliment. It almost makes it sound like it's a bad thing, and it depends on who's doing it. But with John, they're powerful. They're powerful. So I found John sharing lyrics, particularly related to Fall Guy, and I thought this was a thought. I want to create a soundtrack, because I could start picturing in my limited mind, and I'll explain that. I'm not a filmmaker. I'm not a producer. I'm not a director. I do have a very visual mind, and I thought, what can I do? I just hear the sound of Fall Guy. So these songs, and John started writing lyrics, and then we corresponded together to create a soundtrack before we'd even begun to have conversations with people about a book to film. And I saw that as being like a vehicle of, if nothing else, potential promotion. This is where I come from with a microphone. I've created the microphone through the sound of the songs, the music, my voice, John's lyrics, a different representation of Fall Guy the book, and a bridge in some ways between the book and the film.
What it is, it's the bridge that you once lost. It was the bridge that was never there. And because that bridge has been built with the voice that you lost have now got back, what bridges your friendship is the voice that you lost, and you can now use in a different way, not only speaking, but vocally, poetry. And you can do it in such a way now where no one can ever take it away from you. So it's documented, it's there. And you and John can not only share together, but you can complement each other along the way. Him with, obviously, his journey. You with your lyrics, your poems, your stories. But together, you can create music. You can create lyrics. You can create lyrics that you wouldn't necessarily think of, and you can come in and compliment him, and you can vice versa. So it's not what life has taken away; it's what life is going to give you back. Do you know what I mean? Not only with your voice, but with your hopefully landing the film from book to film. You with your voice being able to sing and provide John's film with the voice that you once lost, his name got back. So it's a great, what you call a silver lining to a bad dream, a bad reality, a silver lining that you've both made for yourself instead of giving up.
It's a
you've got adversity and you've really smashed it out the park.
It's a partnership forged in adversity.
Well, that's what me and MK. It's a partnership. Everything's a partnership. You can't really achieve anything special on your own. It's a team effort.
Yeah.
And without one person backing the other up and vice versa, it's not going to happen.
But if you think of the phrase forged, that's metals. Sorry, John. That's metals. I have to say the first thing that comes to me. Yeah, that's metals fusing, combining together.
Yeah.
So that's forged in the heat of adversity.
Yeah.
So that's what we have. I remember at Salford Radio.
Yeah.
Talking to them. So the interview, this was however many months ago, a long time ago, and we were talking about the book Fall Guy at that time, the beginning of the songs, and I think it was only Fall Guy at that time, might have been Cry as well. Yeah. And I said straight off the top of my head, I hadn't engineered it, I hadn't thought about it, we're a force to be reckoned with.
And because
and as I said it, I'm thinking, wow, I've just heard myself say that. Yeah,
exactly. Because you've said it.
Power.
There's power in words.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you've got to be able to believe it yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you.
Totally.
And I found that out in many ways, in many aspects of my own life. If you talk, not do anything, no one's going to put faith in you. No one's going to believe in you. It doesn't happen that way.
So true.
Yeah. So I try and let my actions do my talking. I can say, but I'll come to a point where words don't do it justice. You've got to start putting stuff into action, which is what John did with his book, and which is what you've done with lyrics to complement what he's wrote. And you've provided a soundtrack with a voice that you lost to complement the book that hopefully, fingers crossed, going to turn into a film.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
So it's not only saying you're going to do something, but it's seeing the whole thing through.
100%.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
and not when the going gets tough, you get going. No. When the going gets tough,
Yeah.
I'll get tough as well.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll get tougher, which is what you did.
I don't know the meaning of the words, but for me, promise, vow, oath and vow, oath particularly, has a stronger meaning. If you think of divine energy, God, yeah, I don't prescribe to say that I have a particular one belief system. I certainly feel and know there's something more than me. Definitely, yeah. And that's as far as I want to go, because I don't personally want to give that a label. Personally, I won't take that away from others. But if you think about it, the divine energy source, the thing that is beyond us, operates in.
What do you think? What do you think that is? What do you think that force is?
I'll come to that. I'll come to that in a moment. But I think it operates. The energy, God, He, Him, give a name if you like, operates through written form. We read things. We can read things. That could be the Bible. That could be you go in social media. You're reading a post and you think, wow, you're reading some lyrics. You think, wow, this is from that same energy source. You're hearing things. You're hearing something represented to you. You're seeing things. You're witnessing a vision, some form of energy transforming in front of you. That's what we see through all of those medium and more through the sensory experience of being human. So now, if you can take that energetic source through being a human and represent that in written form, in audible form, in visual form, and you can put that all together, that, in my view, is divine creativity. We are channels. We are channels to receive. So as a songwriter, I take credit for receiving. I'm happy with that. I'll take the credit for receiving because I'm a channel. I'm a conduit. We all are. So when I receive John, that's fuller. That's multiple. That's not just springing from my thought process. There's another energetic force combining with me, which makes it so much more powerful. When I watch films, I never watch a film and think, well, that's such and such. It depends on what the film is. But I see emotion. I feel emotion. If I watch a film that makes me laugh, cry, question myself, that's the human experience. So whether it's film, book, songs, if you want to call them that, it's basically tapping into some essence energy that's beyond us. And if we experience that together, we witness the same film. We read the same book. We listen to the same song. We are sharing in that combined experience together. And myself and John happen to be doing that amongst other people. People cook. That's a gift. So I'm not saying that music is the only means. There's so many different means. Well, we can all transact in that energy of here's a gift.
Because together you're doing now Q&A sessions and you're holding events, evening events where people can attend your events, ask you questions, get the book signed and things like that. So just to want to tell the viewers quickly about what
we've got a event on Thursday evening in Blackpool at the Bloomfield Club, a small independent club, Blackpool. 7:30 we're having a Q&A. I'm getting interviewed by Ray. People can ask me whatever they wish about what happened to me. They can ask me where the music came from, where the book came from, what exactly, anything they want. And that's what we're doing. So the one on Thursday is the first of many, we hope.
Of course.
It looks very, very positive. We had some phone calls today that some people that I've known for a long time want to attend.
Brilliant.
Ticket sales have been good. So I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Where can people buy the tickets from?
And hopefully there's some inspiration there. So they can get tickets from the club directly. From Ray Coke's Voice Events and from John Cheetham Poetry.co.uk. So either one of the three. Take a look at the website. And again, email me. You can ask me anything you wish about the incident that occurred.
And how can people contact you?
Through johncheethampoetry.co.uk or cheethamj@sky.com.
Are you on social media platforms?
Facebook, on
Instagram?
Facebook, on LinkedIn, Instagram, on X. I think X might be why now, but it's there.
Worth the time.
Cypher Films is an independent production company based in Enfield, London, UK. We produce documentaries, short feature films, social media videos, and provide photography studio space for weddings, christenings, and corporate videos.
And just as we wrap up the podcast, I'd like to play something that I listen to very briefly. And it's by Denzel Washington. It's called Put God First. It's something that I've listened to since the start of my journey. And I just think with what you faced and what you faced as well, Barry, it's something that should be shared.
Yeah.
Put God first. Put God first in everything you do.
I can't stress that enough.
Everything you see in me, everything that I've accomplished, everything that you think I have, and I have a few things. Everything that I have is by the grace of God.
Amen.
Understand that. It's a gift. 40 years ago, March 27th, 1975, it was 40 years ago, just this past March, I was flunking out of college. I had a 1.7 grade point average.
And we could all relate.
I hope none of you can
Not really
relate.
going anywhere.
I had a 1.7 grade point average. I was sitting in my mother's beauty shop. They still call it beauty shop now? What they call it now? Yeah, I was sitting in the beauty parlor.
But some of the things that he just say, you can fully relate to.
I'm looking in the mirror, and I see behind me this woman under the dryer. And every time she looked up, every time I looked up, she was looking at me, just looking me in the eye. I didn't know who she was, and I said, she said, somebody give me a pen, give me a pencil. I have a prophecy. March 27, 1975. She said, boy, you are going to travel the world and speak to millions of people.
Can you imagine that?
Now, mind you, I was flunked out of college.
I know it.
Thinking about joining the army. I didn't know what I was going to do, but she's telling me I'm going to travel the world and speak to millions of people. Well, I have traveled the world, and I have spoke to millions of people. But that's not the most important thing, the success that I had. The most important thing is that what she taught me and what she told me that day has stayed with me since.
Amen.
I've been protected. I've been
Directed.
directed. I've been corrected.
Many times.
I've kept God in my life and it's kept me humble. I didn't always stick with him, but he always stuck with me. So stick with him in everything you do. If you think you want to do what you think I've done, then do what I've done.
Amen.
And stick with God. Number 2, fail big. That's right.
Thank goodness for that.
Amen.
Big.
So I did that many
Beginning of
times.
The rest of your life, and it can be very frightening.
I'm sure we
It's
all
a
did.
new world out there. It's a mean world out there, and you only live once. So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances professionally.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within
There's
these
plenty
9
of
dots
reasons for not doing something.
without lifting the pencil.
There's one reason for
The
doing
only
it.
way to do it was to go outside
That's so
the
true.
box. So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid
Don't
to
put yourself
fail
in there in the first place.
big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams. And they ultimately fuel disappointment.
Amen.
So have dreams, but have goals. Life goals, yearly goals, monthly goals, daily goals. I try to give myself a goal every day. Sometimes just to not curse somebody out.
I
Simple
just thought it was
goals.
something
Have goals.
I had to share after this
And
podcast.
understand
Just a nice way
that
to
to
bring it to a
achieve these
close.
goals, you must apply discipline
And consistency.
and consistency. In
Which is
order to
what both of you
achieve
have
your
done.
goals, you must apply discipline, which you've already done, and consistency every day, not just on Tuesday and miss a few days. You have to work at it
Every morning.
every day. You have to plan every day. You've heard the saying, we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan.
Pattern of
Hard
thinking.
work works.
Forms action.
Working really hard is what successful people do. And in this text, tweet, twerk world that you've grown up in, remember, just because you're doing a lot more
Doesn't mean you get a lot more done.
doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. Remember that. Just because you're doing a lot more
So with
doesn't
me.
mean you're getting
So
a lot
with me.
more done.
Or you just end up becoming a
Don't
busy fool.
confuse
I'm saying.
movement with progress.
Very important.
My mother told me, she said, yeah, because you can run in place all the time and never get anywhere. So continue to strive, continue to have goals, continue to progress.
That's what we
Number
do.
3,
Most important.
you'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse.
Very important.
I'll say it again. You'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. I don't care how much money you make, you can't take it with you. And it's not how much you have. It's what you do with what you have.
Perfect example.
We all
for
have
you
different
to-
talents. Some of you will be doctors, some lawyers, some scientists, some educators, some nurses, some teachers. Yeah, okay.
And you?
Some preachers.
I'm not there yet. I'm
The
not there
most
yet.
selfish thing you can do in this world
It's helped somebody.
is help someone else.
We're never there. We're
Why is
arriving
it selfish?
all the time.
Because the gratification, the goodness that comes to you,
Really?
the good feeling that I get from helping others, nothing's better than that. Not
Amen.
jewelry, not big house I have, not the cars, but it's the joy. That's where the joy is in helping others. That's where the success is.
Fuck, I've done it again.
Finally, I pray that you put your slippers way under the bed tonight, so that when you wake up in the morning, you have to get on your knees to reach them.
Amen.
And while you're down there, say thank you for grace. Thank you for mercy.
I do this
Thank you
every
for
day.
understanding. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you for parents. Thank you
Amen.
for love. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for humility. Thank you for peace. Thank you for prosperity. Say thank you in advance for what's already yours. That's how I live my life.
God's
That's
proof
why I
that
am
He
one of the
exists.
reasons why
Thank
I
you
am
for
today.
teaching me.
Yeah.
Say thank you
Thank you
in
for correction.
advance for what is already yours. True
Fuck me, I've called
desire
again.
in the heart for anything good is God's proof to
Yeah,
you,
man, cry.
sent beforehand to indicate that it's yours already.
Amen.
I'll say it again. True desire in the heart, that itch that you have, whatever it is you want to do, that thing that you want to do to help others and to
Itch that
grow
you
and to
have.
make money, that desire, that itch, that's God's proof to you, sent beforehand already to indicate that it's yours.
It's always been yours.
And anything you want good, you can have. So claim it. Work hard to get it. When you get it, reach back. Pull someone else up.
Yeah,
Each one,
that's what it's all about.
teach one. Don't just aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference.
And on that note, we'll say thank you for joining us once again.
Well, thank you, Paul. It's been great as always, and we'll look forward to coming
Part
back
3.
soon.
Thank you, Ray. God
Thank
bless,
you.
my man.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
John. Thank you for coming.
Again.